Hey Blake, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment. So we're going to mostly talk through this first question, but I'll reference kind of some other parts of your project as we're going, okay? So the first thing that I always look for in a strong paragraph is a good topic sentence, which is basically just one sentence at the start that really answers the question. And I think you had that sentence, but I think where you got off a little bit was you sort of just summarized the question rather than actually answering it. Okay, so for example, you say like L-directed and R-directed are two different sides of your brain's way of thinking, which is kind of like, okay, well, we sort of get that from the question, like maybe give us a little bit more like L-directed is the logical side, R-directed is the emotional side. So it doesn't have to be long, but would encourage you to kind of get the answer to the question in there a little more. Then at the end of the paragraph, I look for a concluding sentence, which we want to almost kind of reflect the topic sentence, sort of repeat, what the question and the answer was, and then really kind of maybe provide some significance. And I noticed that a lot of times those were missing, so let's just make sure we get that in there just as a nice like wrap up to the paragraph, okay? All right, next I looked at evidence, and I thought that overall, Blake, you did a pretty good job selecting evidence. Like I liked especially how in this paragraph you had one quote focusing on the left hemisphere and then the other on the right. I thought that was a good way to sort of develop the paragraph. What we do want to work on is what's called embedding that evidence or how you integrate it. So you have these quotes that are kind of just hanging out as sentences on their own, if you can see that. And we don't want that because really this is your writing, right? So even if we just have a little introduction like Daniel Pink explains, comma, the right hemisphere, blah, 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 that at least makes it feel a little bit more like your own writing. And so we'll work on that coming up for sure. All right, next I looked at commentary, and I think you're on the right track with commentary. Like, I don't think you're just summarizing the quotes, but a lot of times I noticed, like, especially here, like, your commentary was just really brief, and so I'd like for you to give me a little bit more of a connection, like, why did you pick this quote to answer the question? Lastly, I looked at your conventions and in-text citations, and so would just encourage you to really be careful on your proofreading and conventions. So like you have some personal pronouns like your that are just a little bit too informal. Like here we're missing an apostrophe, so just that kind of thing. And then in-text citations, we put them in parentheses and there's no little hyphen there. So just kind of look back at that detail work and make sure you're following that. I thought your R-directed activities looked really good, and I especially enjoyed reading your play chapter. I used to play Guess Who like all the time when I was little, so that, just all the time. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny that you had mentioned that. And anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your summer assignment.